All right, guys, thanks for joining me today. Let's go ahead and get started. Uh, excuse me. This is our weekly webinar series where we're building on how to build a cash flowing real estate portfolio business of your dreams. And so we're going to, in this series, we're going to teach you some tips, tricks, and hacks, but also just give you a high level overview of what you should be concentrating on as you build your business. Okay. And, we're not going to go into the topics in great detail, and there's just no time to give you all the tools that you'll need, but we're going to hit things at a very high level and help you reframe what you should be looking at. And so this series, I really put this series together if you fall in one of these three buckets, that you've tried to build a rental real estate portfolio before, but got stuck in analysis paralysis, or maybe you've actually invested in a few rentals before and hit a ceiling of achievement, or you want to invest in rentals and you are just so overloaded and overwhelmed with all the information out there and you haven't gotten started. It doesn't matter whether you have purchased real estate before or you have several rentals under your belt. This webinar is for you. We're going to kind of demystify a few of the obstacles that keep people from progressing in building their real estate portfolio. So if you don't know me, this is me and my crazy crew. This is the exact reason why I invest in real estate. I started off in 2002 living, flipping, and house hacking, and continued that process for a few years. My husband eventually joined me in 2006. But what we understood, it took us a few years to really understand that we needed cash flow. Not just buckets of money, but we needed cash flow. That was the true way to unlock financial freedom. And when we were able to kind of transition that mindset, really start putting together a solid investing plan for ourselves, we were able to really amplify our progress and returns in a very short period of time. And so over the past short period, a few years, we've been able to build quite a sizable real estate portfolio in partnership with other people. We continue to do flipping on the side, but really none of this was actually possible for us until we got the first 30 properties utilizing other people's money under our belt. When we learned how to do that, when we learned that investing roadmap, when we learned how to put together those systems and team and unlock how to use other people's money to build our wealth, that was really when the rubber met the road. And it's like an iceberg, right? You have to have a foundation of it. And what you usually just see is somebody's success is the tip part, right? What did they do from the very beginning? And really just want to draw your attention. It's really getting your foot in the door in real estate and learning how to build that initial portfolio and scale it. That is what's going to start unlocking your path forward. And we did this all while working, wife, mom, and I was taking care of my grandparents and my mother on the side. So typical standard American life, burning the candle at both ends and 5 times in the middle. But what we were able to achieve for ourselves is just immense. And really what all this gives us is control of our time. So what makes what I'm going to share with you today so different? Well, again, I've already alluded to it, but it's over this course of 19 years of investing, I've discovered a few fundamental truths. One, that you have to find and you have to put together an investing roadmap. Okay. When you have the right roadmap in place, the right numbers in place, you can actually start achieving financial independence in a fraction of the time than if you did without a plan. Now, here's the thing. Having the plan and having the mindset to execute the plan are two different things, okay? So I'm going to do a future webinar just on the mindset, on how you have to start shifting your thought processes to step out of where you are to where you want to be. But even when you get that plan in place, you actually have to now start implementing, putting those systems and processes in place. And you want to build in such a way that it's repeatable and structured. Okay. I use this analogy for myself. I want my excitement to come in rock climbing or my mountain biking. I don't want my excitement to come in my real estate business. I want my real estate and other investing just to be kind of ho-hum, boring strategies. I want my excitement to come from someplace else. And then, learning how to use other people's money to accelerate your wealth. And you have to learn how to do this in a very safe manner. But it's really when you learn how to unlock that power, that's where you're going to see accelerated growth and velocity. Okay, there's no rewards if you use all your own cash to build your portfolio. There are no rewards for that. There are rewards if you learn how to create win-win situations and build with other people's money. And the bank does count as other people's money. So anyways, but again, I've already alluded to this. What does all of this give me? Well, it gives me 100% choice on how I spend my time. And one of my most favorite things to do is actually, take time on these webinars to help you guys kind of pick things apart and demystify some of the obstacles that tend to keep people stuck. So today, let's just dive into just 8 ways to scale in real estate. Now, the word scale, I think, tends to scare people. Okay, and you're going to see as we go through the 8 different ways, it does not have to be this huge monstrosity where you have to have $700 million of assets under management. That's not what I mean by scaling. We need to pick the strategy that works for you. Now, why do we actually need to think about a scaling effort right now, even if you don't have a real estate investment currently? Well, because you need 2 points in your investment plan, where you are starting out from and where you want to go in order to help you build the plan. Okay, it's very hard to build a plan if you only have 1 point in time. We need 2 points in time to understand, how we're going to actually create that path to get there. Now, go back and watch some of the other webinars that I've done on how to figure out your financial plan and your investment plan to help kind of clue you in on how to set that first point. All right, so let's start tackling the 8 ways to scale. And I'm going to go through these 2 at a time. All right, and you guys, if you have questions, jump over to the chat box, type in your question there, and I will do my best to answer them in line. Otherwise, I'll clean up everything at the end. The first way to scale, actually, I think most people kind of gloss over, and that is actually house hacking. House hacking is such an amazing strategy to figure out how to scale your real estate portfolio. And why is this? Well, you can apply house hacking to a single family residence, okay, where you buy a residence and then maybe move in a roommate, okay? Or better yet, if you can get like a duplex, triplex, or a quadplex, and you live in one unit and then you rent out the other units, okay? I really do like the multifamily, small multifamily, that 2 to 4 unit house hacking type situation. And why is that? Well, because I can actually get a loan, a residential loan, that will allow me to live in the house. Okay, you see, if I get a 5-unit property, I can't live on the 5-unit. I'm actually going to sign a rider with a commercial bank saying that I'm not living on the grounds. Okay, but if I get a 2 to 4 unit, I can actually live on the grounds, charge all the other tenants rent, and they can cover not only the expenses on the property, but my housing expense. Okay, and that's just phenomenal because now you're getting your housing covered, and it's not that you're going to be like, woohoo, like more money for me to live off of on a day-to-day basis. Well, that is a strategy that just allows you to accelerate your savings. Okay, so you can actually start saving any additional cash flow you get and still setting aside what you would have paid for housing, and again, just accelerate that savings. The other cool thing about house hacking is you can actually use what we call a first-time home buyer's loan, an FHA loan. And so you can actually use this type of loan to, maybe the house is in good condition and you can maybe put as little as 3.5% down to get into this particular unit. Or you can get what we call an FHA 203K loan, which maybe the house needs some love, needs some work, maybe needs an updated roof and some mechanicals, but there's enough equity in the house where you can actually take advantage of the 203K loan and still put minimal down for a down payment and wrap in those costs to the loan. So that's an incredible way to build your wealth. And you can buy one house a year that way, or I suggest every 2 years. So you buy a house or a small multifamily unit, 2 to 4 unit, you close on it, you get it all repaired, you get tenants moved in, you start generating some income on it, and then 2 years later, you go buy your second one. Again, because remember, you've been saving, and then you move into the second one, finish renting out the rest of the units on the first one, and you can continue to utilize that FHA loan to build your wealth. For an FHA loan, you only have to live in the house 1 year. But the reason why I say 2 years is because you, as the primary owner of the residence, if you lived in it 2 out of 5 years, any equity that you grow on that property could be tax-free for you when you go to sell. So that's a really great thing to remember and take advantage of, but make sure to work with the CPA on that. So again, house hacking is a great way to build scale in units, but also get started in real estate. Then we got the turnkey. Okay, I like the turnkey because now we're starting to leverage, create some leverage in your business, especially if you have like a high-paying job and you have a higher and better use of your time. Turnkey, again, will allow you to buy like a single family or 2 to 4 unit, and you can actually use conventional lending and commercial lending. Now, yeah, you do have to buy one house at a time, and you're probably putting 20 or 25% down on that property. However, if you're a high income earner or you're just extremely busy, that removing the elements of having to find a house, property management, and lease it all up, creating some of that leverage can help you scale. All right. Then let's move over to kind of the more, some of my favorite strategies. You could do a BRRRR. That's another way to scale. You can do a BRRRR on a single family or a multifamily. You can use conventional lending or commercial lending. But the cool thing about the BRRRR, and let me just demystify that acronym if you haven't heard it before. The B stands for buy. So you're looking for a property that's below market value. You're going to rehab that property and force the equity on the property. All right, and then you're going to rent it and put an income stream on it, and then you're going to take it to the bank and refinance it and try to pull as much of your own money out as possible. Okay, and then you're going to recycle or repeat and recycle that capital again into your next investment. Now, there's a couple caveats here. For the BRRRR to really work well, you need to be 80% or less. You need your total purchase and the repairs on the property need to equal 80% or less on the total value of the property. If you can get it in for 70% or less, even better, because then you can get all your money out. But I would say 80% or less. Now, it's not a failure if you leave a little bit of money in the BRRRR. It will just slow down how quickly you can grow. Okay, but again, remember, you can continue to save all your cash flow, either savings from your day job or additional cash flow from your properties, and continue to recycle and put it back into the strategy. The other thing about a BRRRR is that you got to find the right market. Okay, things are a little competitive right now, so you want to look for properties that are distressed, where there's a financial distress on the property, emotional distress like a divorce or a death, or the house has some sort of obsolescence to it. There's property distress. Okay, that's a great way to scale. So, and I'm going to create a little summary in the slide here in just a second. The next way to scale would be what I call doing a Burkey. Now, a Burkey is just putting together a team and systems to have other people do the BRRRR for you, right? Like if you're doing your own BRRRR, yeah, you're able to accelerate your equity growth. But if you're putting all your time in, if you don't have the time to do that, that's a bit challenging. So this is something that I really spend a lot of time on people, is how to leverage the BRRRR, but have other people help you get that BRRRR done. And again, the addition here, the additional lever that we're adding, scaling lever we're adding here, is you're still creating velocity with your money, and you're creating leverage because now you're setting up more of a business. So let's put a sweet little cap on the slide. You got house hacking. Okay, you're putting in all your time, money, and hustle. Okay, all on your own. But you're getting paid off in dividends because you get to leverage other people, the tenant pay down, the tenant rent, and different types of lending in order to get into that house hack. Then you got the turnkey. Again, this is just a very leveraged strategy, a little harder to create velocity with your money. But again, if you have a higher and best use of your time, this is a great strategy. Then you got Burr. If you're doing it on your own, you're creating some massive scale with your own capital, but you got to put in more time. And then the Burkey, we're creating a lot of velocity of both our time and our capital. Okay. So let's transition on and look at strategies 4 through 8. So how do we start? When I look at strategies 4 through 8, we can take any one of the first 4 main ways to buy and put a plan on top of them. Okay, so again, what is the scaling plan, right? So we're going to have an investment strategy, and then what's the plan to scale? And this is where we can start throwing some gasoline on that fire. So when we're, maybe you just buy one property every year for 30 years. Okay, that's awesome. Now, some people will kind of go, I don't understand how that's scaling. Well, it's easy, it's manageable. You're just doing one a year. And then at the end of 30 years, you start unwinding that and selling a property. Now, maybe your retirement, you expect to retire for much longer than 30 years. That's totally fine. What you would do when you go to sell, you would take your down payment and go buy another property and live off the cash, the equity growth that you created. Okay. So that's one way to do it. Buy a property one a year for 30 years, and then just at the 30-year mark, start to unwind it, but continue to grow your plan. Continue to buy a property going past that. Then we got what I call, actually Chad Carson has come up with this, the 3-2-1 plan. I just gave it a name. So essentially, you're going to buy each year, you're going to buy 3 properties. Okay. This works really well with like Burr investing. You're targeting properties that are going to be a Burr. So you buy 3 properties, you sell off 2 to create equity, and then you take that equity and you keep 1. You roll it into the 1 that you're keeping. Okay. The idea for this is that you're creating equity growth and paying down these properties as quickly as possible. So you're building your equity as quickly as you possibly can. All right. So that's again another manageable strategy. Now let's target some really cool ways to scale. One of my favorites is the stack. Okay, I get it. When you start investing in real estate, it can be really overwhelming to invest. But so how do we make that manageable? Well, the first year you buy 1 property. Okay. And this is actually the strategy that I started off with. And then my husband and I quickly transitioned to obviously a far different strategy. But, our first intention was just to buy 1 property in the first year, and then the next year 2. That sounded like very easy for us to do. So you buy 1 property the first year, 2 in the second year. Now, I suggest in the second year, you get a duplex. Okay, it can be 2 single family homes, but, I suggest you get a duplex. Now, why? Because then in the first year, you have 1 real estate transaction. In the second year, you have 1 real estate transaction. You're just getting 2 doors. And then in year 3, you just have 1 real estate transaction, but this time you get 4 doors. Okay. And then, so the first 3 years, you're learning how to manage real estate. You're learning how to work with conventional and commercial, loans. You're getting your feet wet with property management, and then you start jumping into straight commercial with the 4th year when you buy an 8-plex. All right. And then in year 5, you buy a 16-plex. Again, you're just doubling every single year. And, the 6th year, we would buy a 32 unit. Guys, by the end of 6 years, you would have 63 units under your belt, and possibly with just 6 transactions. All right, so that is a great way to scale. All right, now one of my favorite ways to scale is utilizing syndications. Okay. Now, syndications, at some point in time, you might look at your personal income and just go, you know what, I've got all this money and equity building up in my properties, but I don't want to actively manage this anymore. And property management's cool, but I want to be even more hands off and have more time efficiency. That's where you can start looking to reposition some of that cash flow and equity into a syndication deal. So essentially, a syndication just means a group of investors coming together and buying an asset. It can be an apartment building, it can be a mobile home park, it can be self-storage, okay? And you create a lot of leverage that way because you get to leverage the syndicators' time, knowledge, market expertise, their team, their ability to get credit and lending. Also, you get to leverage other investors' money as well in order to take down a larger asset. Okay, I call it leverage OP everything. Also, as you scale, maybe you've got 63 units and you're managing all that and you've got everything on insurance and your commercial liability insurance and in LLCs. Syndication can actually give you a decent way to scale and limit your potential risk because those assets will go into a single entity LLC as well. So those are just, again, like 4 different ways that you can take the first 4 investment strategies and just kind of throw some gas on the fire to start building your strategy. You can actually, combine any one of these. Like my favorite is utilizing the Burkey investment. And I'll go back to that one real quick. Woo, hold on. I'm going the wrong direction, guys. Sorry about that. All right. Well, we'll just go here. But I like leveraging the Burkey investment to, let's see if I can use my arrows this way. Hey, there we go. Okay, I like utilizing the Burkey here because I'm creating not only leverage with my time, I'm creating velocity with my money. And then I'll sit on that asset, watch its performance, and then maybe every 3 to 5 years I'll harvest the equity, and then I will split it. So I'm able to harvest like $60,000 or $70,000 out of the deal, and then I'll take half of that and go buy another Burkey or 2. And then I will take the other half of it and put it here in syndication. So I'm scaling both sides, my active investment as well as my syndication kind of time off investment. All right, again, keeping my money as active as possible. So again, I think you guys have already seen the slides. We covered quite a bit here in just like a half an hour. I would love for you to go over to the chat box and let me know what questions you have on how to, again, pick a methodology for scaling. And again, just pick one, okay? It doesn't have to, you don't have to just commit to it for a year. You can always change your mind as your investment plan always should. And it should evolve over time, but pick one because as you're starting your real estate investment career, you have to have 2 points in order to start setting goals. So go to the chat box, let me know what questions you have. Also go to the chat box and tell me which of these scaling strategies actually resonates best for you. All right, guys, I understand it's the lunch hour. Maybe we got, people are eating and trying to watch the webinar. That's what I have for you today. Hopefully you guys have found it as time well spent. If you are looking for help in building your real estate portfolio, please stay on the line. I've got a solution for you that I think will be very beneficial. If you're just here to like pick up some extra knowledge, stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to ashwealth.com. I've got an ebook over there, and I do weekly webinars. So make sure that you're plugged in over there to get those added tools. But again, if you want help with this, stay on the line because I have what I call my Investor Accelerator. This is a mentorship mastermind program, and this is where I share everything to help you get started in real estate and scale your portfolio. we help you put together your investing plan, put together your goals, as well as build out the systems and team that you're going to need to scale your portfolio. Oh, Aaron asked a question. If doubling the purchases each year, how do I get the money to support this approach? Great. Yeah. You have to have the money coming from somewhere. You have to be able to raise it either through your, save it through your job or a side hustle, save the cash flow from your current investments. You have to be able to pull that income lever somehow, maybe even doing flipping on the side. Those are other ways. You have to, so if you're asking me, how do I get the money to support the approach? Now the next question is, what income increases can you create? Other things that you can look at, and Aaron, I believe you've already done this, is utilizing, look at what debt equity you have in your portfolio. Do you have home equity that is not being used? Guys, home equity, if you got equity locked up in your house, it is earning a 0% rate of return and it's at risk at the market. I know a lot of people feel that the equity in their house is very much stable. It will always be there. If asset prices fall, that equity goes away overnight. Okay, that's why I'm very much a proponent of unlocking the equity out of their house as much as possible. Other types of equity that you can look at is I know some people stuff a ton of money in their 401ks and Roths, and that's fantastic, right? Saving for retirement, but also taking again different lens to look at those type of buckets of money and where they might be better invested. That's other ways that you can access funds. You can take a loan against your 401k, TSP, or I think it's a 457 and 403b. I think you can take loans against all of those. That could get you started, right? So you can also, it doesn't have to be your money. You can also go look at partnering with other people and taking down assets. Right now, I'm looking at a 40 unit and I've got 2 or 3 other partners that I would be bringing in to take down that asset. I was hoping to take it down myself. Not going to happen right now at this point in the year. But, I'm not going to, it's not a matter of like, can I get the money? I'm going to figure out a way how to get that money because that deal is so slick. Anyways, those are all the questions that you need to be asking yourself. What funds do you have that you can unlock that are being underutilized? I guarantee you 90% of people have funds in their portfolio that are being grossly underutilized and are at far greater risk in the market than they realize. Or how can you leverage other people's money in order to get that going? Remember, going back to that very beginning, you have to have the plan, the roadmap, then you have to be able to build the system. And then you have to be able to unlock other people's money, be it the bank or money you have locked up in retirement, because guys, your retirement money is not your money. It's the government's money right now, okay? So I would even consider that as a source of OPM, other people's money, or like literally, how can you go partner with other people and unlock their money and help them, partner with you and create a win-win situation to build, better assets. We talk about all of this in the Investor Accelerator too. So this is, if you want to learn how to do this, we dive into these strategies. I'll just recap exactly what we do here. We partner in the accelerator for people who are just starting out in their real estate career and don't have, are doing this part-time, don't have assets currently, or if you've hit that ceiling of achievement and you don't know how to scale, right? It could be at 2 houses, it could be at 10 houses. I mean, I'm working with people that have, greater portfolios than that, and they haven't figured out how to unlock to the next level, okay? And we provide you all the education, the community support, ongoing, office hour sessions to help you bust through obstacles in between our growth mastermind sessions. So we do 2 mastermind sessions a month. One's focused on, increasing your knowledge and expanding your network, putting you in touch with the people that you need to help you grow your portfolio. And then the other session is focused on business. Like, what's your investment strategy? How are we going to bust through the obstacle that you're having and get you to the next level? All right. And everything that I create from my business goes into this program. So, there's complete transparency on how to build, scale to that next level. So it's not just about the knowledge, it's what you do with the knowledge. And that's where, the mastermind really helps you take all this knowledge that you're probably absorbing for so many different sources and consolidate it and actually put it to good use. So if that sounds like something that resonates with you, this program isn't for everybody. So I want to make sure that we jump on the phone and then we have a quick conversation, and then we make sure that this program really truly is for you and that it is the best fit. So make sure if you're interested in joining the mastermind, go to ashwealth.com and /apply. It's like a 10-second application there. We'll hop on the phone and get your questions answered and make sure it's a good fit for you.